Hi everyone and welcome to Create Beautiful Things. Today I have a very special package for you. Today I'll be showing you how to create this depth of field card hover in Figma. As you can see, when I hover over a card, it actually just pops out and the rest go back into position. So you realize the ones in the background are actually they actually have a layer blur in them, and there's actually that change of animation. When I hover over a card, it just pops out and then they actually evenly space. I'll be showing you how to create this using Figma. Alright, let's get into today's video. Alright, so I've created a new project. I'm gonna call our project depth of field. Let's spell that well. Depth of field. Alright, you understand why I'm calling it that later on. Alright, so next we're gonna type in some text. Gonna type in some text right here, but I'm gonna make use of a plugin that I already have. I'm gonna set the size to 10. Okay, 10 will help. Then we're gonna right click and make use of a plugin I already have. I'm gonna make use of the plugin Lorem Ipsum. You can install it. Then we're gonna generate 2 sentences. Just generate that. Okay, that's actually fine. We actually don't need all that. We don't need all that, so we can delete some of it. Yeah, somewhere around there. I think that's enough. Okay, then we're gonna center line our text. Okay, that will work. Right, next we're gonna make use of our ellipse. We're gonna draw an ellipse. Hold shift, just make sure that that the parameters are even. Right, then we're gonna right click. Then we're gonna make use of another plugin I've installed. It's called Unsplash. We're gonna use this to generate some faces. This may be like the editorial team at CBT Create Beautiful Things. Make sure to subscribe. Right, then we're gonna search for faces. I have plenty of options, but we're gonna make use of this. Let's click on this. Alright, so we have that image, but I just want it to position. I just want to position it better, so I'm just gonna crop it a little bit. So I'm gonna drag it a little bit down with the cropping. Alright, that looks better. Alright, so next we're gonna draw a rectangle. Just make sure to draw a rectangle. Doesn't need to be so big. Right around there. Then I'm gonna type in some text in our rectangle. Gonna type in gonna type in some text. Read more. Okay, so we're gonna place our text right within the rectangle. Just make sure that the text actually appears on top of the rectangle. Alright, just want to make sure it's at the center. Alright, so we're gonna change all our text to pop-ins. I love pop-ins. So we're gonna change this to pop-ins. This text for me is easy to work with. So we're gonna change the read more statement to bold. Okay, that looks better. Okay, that actually looks okay. Then I'm gonna just change this to a little bit of darker gray. Something like that. Just change the read more statement to white. Okay, that's okay. Now, next we're gonna do some auto layout. So we're gonna highlight and select all. But before we do that, let's first group this. Group read more and the rectangle. Just make sure these are set in a group. Okay, then you can right click. And then we're gonna say click on add auto layout. Alright, so right here we have our panel here. Now we're gonna just make sure to center that. Just want to make sure everything is centered. Okay. Alright, so we're gonna just compress our text a little bit around there. That looks better. Okay, so we're gonna right click and then we're gonna add an auto layout. Okay, so we have our auto layout right there, and then we're gonna change the setting to center. We're gonna align everything towards the center. Okay, so in our auto layout, we're gonna add some fill color. Gonna add a white fill color that actually looks okay. Yeah, but then we're gonna do some padding around it. We want some padding of let's try 15. Yeah, that looks better. We just want to make sure that everything around the card actually looks good, but that's actually neat. Okay, right, so next we're gonna create a component out of this. So we're gonna click here, just say create component. So we have a component created. So inside our component, we're actually gonna create a variant of this. So just make sure your component is selected. Then we're gonna go right here to the right side and then click this plus icon. It's gonna add a variant. Okay, all right, so I'm gonna drag, just enlarge this a little bit. All right, so we have our default component here, then we have the variant 2. Now we're gonna make some changes to variant 2. We're gonna enlarge variant 2 a little bit, so just make sure your variant is selected, then hold shift, and then we're gonna enlarge this. Just wanna make sure it's slightly bigger. All right, then inside variant 2, we're gonna change the text font size to 13. Okay, then also gonna increase the size of the rectangle. Just make sure that it actually just looks bigger. Then we're gonna change the text size to 13 also. Okay, then we're gonna increase the size of our image. Just make sure it pops out a little bit more. Okay, so we're gonna change something. So inside variant 2, we're gonna change the color of the frame. We're gonna change it to light blue. Gonna give it some light blue color, something like that. Then I'm gonna change the text color of lorem ipsum to white. Okay, but I'm gonna make that size semi-bold. Alright, so within the grouping here, I'm gonna change the text color of read more to black. I'm gonna change that to black. I'm going to change the rectangle color to white. Okay, that actually looks fine right there. Now one more thing we're going to do, just make sure your frame is selected. We're going to change the name of this property. We're going to change it to open. Okay, just make sure it's set to open. Now we're going to change the name of the default to false. We're going to change the name of variant 2 to true. Okay, that's actually much better. Alright, so having done that, we're going to do some prototyping. Just make sure you have your, so just go to prototype mode, then just make sure we have our default state selected. We're going to add an interaction. We want to make sure that while hovering, it will change to, just make sure that this is set to open. Just make it will change and smart animate as it changes to the other state, to change to the variant 1. You know, just make sure this happens. Actually, just leave that at 300. 300 is fine. Alright, that's basically it. Then we're gonna create a frame. Alright, so we're gonna duplicate this. So just duplicate, make a copy of your default. Alright, so here we have our copy right there. Then we're gonna test it. Go back to design mode, just click, just make sure this is set to open. As you can see, it changes. Alright, so that's fine, that will work. Then we're gonna add an auto layout to our frame. So just click add auto layout to this new frame we've actually just created. Then we're gonna drag and place a copy of that default into the frames. So we're gonna enlarge our frame again. Just make sure your frame is enlarged. We're gonna give it a darker color. Yeah, right, just so that we can see our cards very well. So we're gonna change this. We're gonna align this to center. Just make sure that everything in the frame is actually aligned to center. Right. So we're gonna duplicate this frame 3 times. Just click Ctrl D, Ctrl D, Ctrl D, Ctrl D. Okay, so we're gonna resize our frame a little bit more. Right, looking good. So we just want to make sure that everything is spaced by at least 30. Okay, that's much better. All right, so we're gonna go inside here, then we're gonna change the colors of the different of some of the different shapes. So just make sure your Unsplash plugin is open. So we're gonna change the colors. The images. I'm gonna change the images to new ones. Just to make sure this is set to another image. So that's for that frame. So also gonna set this to another image. Let's make use of that. Alright, then just gonna change this image to this. Let's use that. Alright, so we're just gonna do some little bit of cropping. I don't like the way that image actually just looks compressed. Just gonna crop that a little bit. Okay, that looks better. Okay, that's fine. We're gonna crop this also. Let's just crop it a little bit. That would do. That's okay. Alright, so something else we wanna do is this is the most important piece of it. Just make sure that in this new frame of ours, just make sure that every frame actually has the same name. So we're gonna change the names. Just call each one of them frame. From what I've been testing, I've actually realized that it actually does not work unless they actually all carry the same name. So just make sure you change the name of each frame to the same names. Just for this example, we're just gonna call each one of them frame, but you can call them anything. Just make sure the names are actually equal. Otherwise, while hovering, you actually not see any change. You actually not see much change. Okay, so that's a very, very important thing. So something else we wanna do, we're gonna go back to our default here. Then I just want to make sure that before a hovering happens, that there's actually a layer blur, that they actually blurred at the beginning. All right, until someone hovers over them. So let's first test this around here. As you can see, when someone hovers over that, it will actually change, and the others just evenly space. All right, so let's prototype this. Just give it a second to load. Alright, so we have our prototype here. As you can see, when I actually hover over any card, you can actually see that it actually pops out and the rest just evenly space. As you can see, it doesn't matter which card you hover on, it will actually just happen like that. And then this is how it actually create the depth of field hover in Figma. Thank you so much for watching. If you learned something for this video, just feel free to tell me below in the comments, and then just feel free to like the video. It actually helps the video actually be promoted a little bit more. And if you're new to this channel, I encourage you to subscribe so that you can join in on the community, and then don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you get updates every single time I upload a new video. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all in my next video. Bye.